Hello folks. So today we will be discussing OnSubmit client script. So what is OnSubmit client script? OnSubmit client script generally validates the form and checks that it is according to uh, the data which they wants to be filled in the way it should be like that only. If it doesn't match the criteria, it generally prevents the form submission. Now, what can be the scenarios or criteria we will be discussing here? Like suppose we are having a specific field mandatory and we are keeping that field unfilled. So in that case, it should restrict the forms from getting submitted. According to that, there it should match all the criteria. Suppose we are having a password field and there is having some criteria set on that. It should be having at least 8 characters, one special character is like that, and user have entered the password not in the in that format. So in that case, also on submit client script will work and it will come into the picture and it will restrict our forms to get submitted. So now we will understand this in a more funnier way. So it is like an overprotective moms who checks with their daughter and son that if you have packed your lunch, zipped your bag, aren't wearing a floor before leaving the house, aren't wearing the flip-flop before leaving the house. So in that same way, these are all activities are like the fields which should be done before the submitting the form. So before leaving the house means you can you can suppose that you can consider it like that before submitting the forms, all should activities or this all the fields should work or should be get filled in the respective criteria in the respective format only. So let's understand this on submit client script scenarios we will be doing in our personal developer instance. So these are the real life scenarios of on submit client script. First is mandatorily field validation scenario, which should be like a form. Suppose if a form is having some specific fields, it should get filled before submission of the form. The second one on the specific table which we are following, we will keep two fields like that start date and end date, start date or due date. In that case, start date should not be the future date of due date. Third one will be the character limit and the short description field. So suppose we are setting character limits of 1,000 in a short description field. So user should not enter the characters more than 1,000 in that specific field. And the fourth one will be the opened by and requester for should not be the same user. So suppose if we are having a two reference field in our form, in that case, we don't want same users to be entered into both the reference field. So this real life scenarios we will be looking one by one in our developer instance. So let's discuss the first scenario in which we are doing the field validation for a mandatorily field. So for this scenario, we will go to request table. Let's enter the name of request table dot list. Since we are having one existing record here, we will be doing on this record only. Okay. So this is our form view. So we will now create one client script on location field and we will check the validation of this location field and we will make this field mandatorily filled before the form submission. So for that, let me take the backend name of this location field and I can see that the location field is the backend name of this location field is location in smaller case. Okay, make field validation. We will give the name of the client script like that. The type here we will be keeping on submit. Okay, so this is our code snippet. Now let's declare one variable location. In this variable, we will store the current value of location from the form. For that, we will be using the gform object dot get value function for fetching the current value of a field, and in the inverted commas, we'll enter the backend name of location. Now our location variable carries the current value of location field from the form. Now using the conditional statement if, let's check that if location field is empty, in that case we want one message to get populated. When the location field is empty, we want one error message to get populated. So gform dot at add error message will be the function for populating the error message. And inside we will be writing one string. Location should not be empty. Okay. So this will populate one message while submitting the form. Now, the important thing is that we want the form to get we want to prevent the form from submission as well. So for that, we will be using return false. Okay, so now our script states that if our location field is empty, then one message will get populated as well as it will restrict our form to get submitted. So here we are validating the field for mandatory check, like this field should be mandatorily filled before the submission of form. So let's save this client script and test it on our form. Okay, it's saved. Let me refresh our form. Hmm. Now I'm removing this United State value from the location, and now we will submit this form. You can clearly see that location should not be empty. Error message got populated for as we have kept this field empty. Now we will add United State, and now if I submit this form, it got successfully submitted. So this is our first scenario that we have achieved via clients on submit client script. So after jumping on the second scenario, now we will be discussing here the validation between two date fields. One is start date and second is end date. So here we want is that start date should not be the future date of end date. So let's again see this on our existing record of request table only, where the start date here we will be considering the open date of this form. So let's build a client script for this. Name we are considering here for this is start and end date validation. The type again will be on submit only. Now in this code snippet, we will declare one variable of start date. Mm, we will we will fetch the value of our open field into this. Okay, so for not getting confused, I will be giving the name of this variable opened only. Now the second one, due date. Again, we will be using the same object and same method, and in the inverted commas, the backend name of due date, which is due underscore date. Okay, so let's validate the backend name of this. Okay, it is correct only. Now, here in the if conditional statement, we will be checking that both the fields should have the value. For that, we will use open and an operator and due date. This will check that both the fields should have the value, and use again we will use AND operator, and here we'll check the open should be, if open is greater than due date, then in that case we want to restrict the form submission as well as we want to populate one field message. So here we will do some new thing here. In our last script we use the add error message. Here we will use the show field message. Okay. So what is the difference in that? You will get while when we will test this script. So here let's add the uh, input string here. Input like we need to add one name of the form where we want the name of the field where we want this message to get print or to get populate. Then we will be adding here one string due date should not be prior from prior to open date. Okay. And in the last, we will be using the type of field message we want. That will be error. Okay. Now let's state here return false for preventing the form to get submitted. Okay. And that's it. Now we will save this client script and we'll test it on our form. Okay. So I'm refreshing this page. Okay. So we can see that now let's give the future date in this. Okay, so opened is having 26 March and in due date we are having 3 March. So according to this should restrict the form to get submitted. So let's save this. Oh, I think there might be some error here. Oh, we are using the wrong name of this. It is open underscore at. Let's change it. Okay, and I will refresh the form. Mhm. Okay, we'll update it once again and save it now. Okay, so you can see that we got a error message populated that due date should not be prior to open date. So we can print this message even under this field as well, even under this field as well. So in our previous script, we used the error message which was coming at the top. But yeah, using this show field message method, we can even populate our error message or some other message under the specific field as well. So this is our second scenario, which is working fine as per our onSubmit client script. So according to our third scenario, now we are checking the character limitation in a specific field. So I have mentioned it for the short description, but here we will be doing for description field because for short description, 1,000 characters will be enough for that. So we will check for the description field here. Let's build one client script for this. So name I have kept a limit short description. Let's change it to description. Okay. And let's do it here. Now I'm declaring the variable here, which is short underscore description. And let's fetch the value of description field using the get value method of gform object. The backend value of the backend name of this field must be short underscore description only. Okay. Now using the conditional statement, we will check the short description dot length. If short description dot length is greater than 1,000, we want the form to get restricted. Okay. Return false for restriction of the form. And then we want the message to be print under the field. So using gform object, we'll again use the show field message only. Here again the name of that field under which we want the error message to print. The second parameter will be our string, short description. Oh, sorry. I forgot that we are doing it for the description. Okay, now let me change here to description and here as well, also description. So description should be lesser than, okay, instead of 1,000, let's do for the 10 characters only for just showing demo. You can use according to you, should be lesser than 10 characters. Okay. Okay, so I can see we are almost done for this. Let's save this. Oh, I forgot the last parameter. The last parameter is the type of the message we want, which is error. Okay, so this gform.show field message accepts three parameters. First, the backend name of the field under which we want to populate the error message. The second is the string, the error message that specifically we want to print or populate. And the third will be the type of message we want. So here we are using error, that means it will come under with a red background. Okay, so okay, let's saving this form. Okay, now I'm refreshing this page and we'll check that our description field. So hi, my name is Samaksh. Okay, I think it is almost great, more than 10 characters here. Let me check. Oh, here we have added 1000. We need to make it 10 only. Okay, now again I need to refresh as we have done the changes in our script. My name is hello service now. Okay, now I'm again saving it, and oh, it first it is showing the error of this our previous client script use case. Let me change it to 2nd of March so that it will not populate. Okay, so here we are doing some error with the script. Short description is not defined. Where we are using short description, oh, we forgot to make changes here. Now it's fine. Again, let me copy this code and refresh the page. Okay, let me paste it here and let's save this. Oh, again, save it and see. The description should be lesser than 10 characters. So yeah, this is how our uh, description character field validation is working as it is. So this is our third scenario. Now we'll be discussing the fourth scenario. So the last scenario, let's see how we will be dealing with the two reference field. Now, according to this scenario, we want a different user should be present in our requested for field and in our opened by field. Okay. So as for this current data of this form states that we are having the same user only with both fields. So here we will be restricting the form for this particular data. Okay, so let's build a client script for this. Let's go to the configure and client script. Or let me remove this from here. Okay, so now we will give it a name for requested by and opened by validation. Okay, the type will be on submit again. Now let's declare one variable for requested for. Okay, now we will be using the gform object dot get value. So we want this sys ID of the user only. So here we will be using get value only. Now let's add the name of the backend name of that field, that is requested underscore for. Again, the second variable will be for the opened by, sorry. and the same thing we are using for it. Let's copy the patch of code and paste it here, and the name of the field is open underscore by. Okay. So I will explain this two line of code. Here we are storing the requested for sys ID of means whatever will be the user present in the requested for field, we will be storing the sys ID in the requested for variable, and similarly for the open by, we will be storing the sys ID of that user in open by variable. Now we will just compare this both. If requested for sys ID equals to open by sys ID means comparing both the sys equals to means having the same user in both the field. Okay. Now, in that case, we'll restrict the form and we'll show a field message, not field message. We will show the error message only because it is for the two fields, and we'll add the error message is that both field should have different user, and return false for okay. Now we are done with our client script. Let's save this. Okay. So generally requested for is the person who have sorry, the opened by is the person who have raised the request. Means suppose I am having some issue with my emails or any other thing, or I want to order something. So when I submit the forms from the catalogs, I will be the person who should come in the open by because I have raised the request, and I will be the user which will be coming in this open by, and the requested for is the person, suppose your manager who will be going to approve your ticket or who will be going to handle your ticket should come under this field. Okay, so that's why I have kept this use case that it should not if we are using a use case of employee and their manager, then it should have both the fields should have the different value in that case. Okay, so let's reload this form. Okay, so suppose requested for here is this able tutor. Okay, and their manager will be considering here is Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so in that case, the both the users here are different in both the fields. It should accept the form, but for if we are using the same user able tutor only, it should not accept. So let's save it and check. Yeah, we can see that both fields should have different user. So let me change the value of requested for here to Abraham Lincoln. And suppose the able tutor is the person who raised the request, and the requested for is Abraham Lincoln, who is the manager of able tutor, who will be dealing this request for approving for approval process and further things. So let's save this and check. Yeah, we can clearly see that it accepted the form, and because both the field is having a different user inside it. So these are all the real life scenarios of our on submit client script. So today for this videos, we are done. And in our next video, we will be gonna study about the on change client script, which is the third type of client script. And also we will be discussing the real life scenarios come under it. So thank you so much for this, for watching this till end. And let's see the on change client script scenarios in our next video.